Hello, my name is Doug MacGray. I'm the president of Stonecrop Wealth Advisors, an independent financial planning and investment advisory company here in Westchester, Pennsylvania. I've been in the financial and investment advisory business for about 25 years. And one of the things I began to observe early on was that there was this thing called faith-based investing, although back then it was called biblically responsible investing. It's still called that, but it's also called faith-based investing these days. And it, of course, piqued my curiosity. And so I started looking into it immediately. And there were a lot of concerns about mutual funds, essentially, that had a faith-based or biblically responsible slant because they thought, well, they're not going to be run as well, they're not going to get the same kind of returns. And so they weren't particularly popular. But we looked at them anyway. And we began using them in earnest at a certain point in our history at Stonecrop Wealth Advisors. But let me take a step back a second to explain what biblically responsible investing or faith-based investing is. A lot of times as Christians, because we live in this world where investing has been separated from the investment, we don't think too much about where our investment dollars are going. So you'll put your money in a 401k or some sort of a brokerage account, or you'll just give it to a financial advisor who will manage it for you. And they will take that money and likely put it in mutual funds or an exchange traded fund or something to diversify your wealth. All that has a lot of good, sound financial principle behind it. You want to diversify so that you're not at risk by any one company. The problem is that if you do that, you're investing in companies you know nothing about. So if I were to ask you very briefly, if your neighbor came to you and said, look, I'm starting this business, it's a surefire money maker, it's going to double your investment within 2 years. It might pique your interest, but then when he tells you it's going to be a business over on the corner of Broad Street and Main Street, and it's going to be a strip club, you of course would not invest in that. But essentially, by putting your money in a mutual fund that is broadly diversified, you kind of are doing that. There are companies that are in those funds where you're investing your dollars in things that you would probably find reprehensible. There's one company in the Russell 2000, which if you invest in a broadly based indexed fund, you would probably be in, that is gentlemen's clubs. And so you will be investing and making money on that endeavor. There are two companies in the S&P 500 that are in the cigarette business, tobacco business, and you might think, well, that has been largely regulated. Children aren't being harmed, but you would be wrong about that because after U.S. regulators said stop marketing to children, all they did was they took their marketing dollars and brought them into Indonesia and other countries like that. In Indonesia, right now, the average age of a child who starts smoking is somewhere between 8 and 11 years old. And about a third of children get addicted because of those marketing dollars. So you'd be investing in something like that. So what we try to do with faith-based investing is the first thing that those companies do when we invest in that way is we screen out things that Christians would find reprehensible. So they all tend to screen out tobacco, pornography, casinos, and things that are not upholding the sanctity of life. And so they screen out some of those things, or all of those things, and some other things depending on the background of the particular financial planning the particular mutual fund. And they also engage with those companies. So sometimes they will be invested in a company that will purchase a subsidiary that's involved in one of those kind of activities. And the mutual fund company will say, we have to divest unless you stop doing that. And there have been success stories where that has actually happened. And they also now are proactively trying to put their money in places where where they're pursuing activities that will help the world flourish. So oftentimes as Christians, we think, I want my daily activities to be seeking out the kingdom of God, and I want my philanthropic dollars to be consistent with that as well. But we don't think about our investing dollars that really provide a significant amount of leverage for changing the culture and changing society. So at Stonecrop, we've been doing this. We created some investment models that use nothing but biblically responsible and faith-based funds. And we've been doing that for about 6 years now, so we have beyond a 5-year track record. And what we've discovered is that if you invest in this type of investment, you're not signing up for less returns. We're finding that the returns are almost identical. They vary a little bit here and there, but what we have found is you're definitely not signing up for less returns. So we are excited about the additional money going for the kingdom that is going into these funds, and that's why we've been big proponents of it.
Doug, thank you so much for these inspiring words. And friends, I know that if you're like me, then you'd like to hear more. And what are some of the practical ways that we can be supportive of charitable institutions that are especially investing in eternity, that are investing in the next generation as well? Well, my husband Chuck and Doug had a conversation on the Help and Hope podcast that gives a wider explanation of how we can be faithful in our giving, practical ways to invest now and practical ways to invest for eternity. So I encourage you to check out that conversation that Chuck and Doug had on the Help and Hope podcast. Thank you so much for watching, and I pray that as you walk wherever God has placed you, that you will remember He is sovereign and you can trust Him.